Hey guys, welcome to a video about everything to know about Genesis Part 2 before going into the expansion that is releasing on the 26th of May 2021. Now this isn't an addition to Genesis Part 1, it's actually its own thing. It's just labeled Genesis Part 2. It's got its entire own world and everything apart from Genesis Part 1, just so that's clear. And there's a few interesting maps in this one that are very different from everything we've seen before. Some of them are quite creepy. I'm excited to talk about them. Now the first zone that we know we're getting is the Eden Zone, and this is apparently the starter zone. I believe it's this one over here. It kind of looks like Valguero mixed with some tech stuff. So basically we're on this giant, Genesis spaceship flying through the space, and there's these biomes and things, the arcs on the ship itself. So we're actually on this ship and we're doing stuff there. So it's kind of different from all the other arcs, and it's got a lot of exciting stuff about to happen. So this one really reminds me of Valguero. It's giving me a insane Valguero vibe here, especially the greenery and the scenery that you can see in that picture. I think it looks pretty cool. Now we also have another area called the Tek Trenches, right? The Tek Trenches, it looks very much like Extinction. If you started to see a theme here that a lot of these maps look like the other maps just changed in a different form. This looks like Extinction mixed with maybe a little bit of Valguero kind of theme. It looks like a lunar kind of sky in the background. I wonder if we're going to actually have a sky, or when we look up, are we going to see the Genesis spaceship? Are we going to see stars? Is it always nighttime? I'm very curious as how that works, because from the concept arts, it does seem like we're going to constantly be able to see the spaceship above us. I hope that's the case. That would be really cool. And this is basically one where there's a bunch of tech stuff, and it's obviously it goes into the ground, and you can see there's a lot of structures and stuff. It really reminds me of Extinction, with all the, futuristic buildings and just abandoned stuff just left everywhere. It does have that vibe going for it, with a lot of greenery growing around it and into it, and it's kind of stuff like it's been left alone for a really long time. And thirdly, we have Rockwell's Garden, which is really very similar to kind of Lunar plus Aberration. I swear to God, everything here is like a mix of something we've had before. This reminds me of Lunar plus Aberration, because it's got all that twisted, weird, kind of colorful shit that's just everywhere, but also kind of looks mystifying and different, in the form of the lunar kind of biome from Genesis Part 1. But obviously, I don't think this one's going to have a space okay, you can float kind of theme. I think it's going to be more like Aberration, but with an exploration of compared to Lunar. At least that's the vibe that I'm getting here from the concept art that we've seen and what we've heard about Rockwell's Garden, that he stored all his special plants and things that he's found. So we're going to see a lot of weird shit there. And I feel like this is the biome that we're probably going to find Shadowmane in. It feels like a biome that he would be in. Where's the best place to put a dinosaur that can camouflage and go invisible? In an environment where it's super colorful and hard to see things in general anyway. So, imagine a huge colorful background, and also from what we've seen of Shadowmane, this seems to be his preferred biome. I'm just going off of speculation here, so a lot of this is some speculation and, some fact as well. So we're just mixing that and trying to see what we actually see from the concept and what we're getting. And then finally, we have a really weird area called the Rockwell's Innards biome. Now this is fused with Sir Edmund's Innards, so there's a lot of gooey, creepy shit. It feels like another side of Aberration, but all with gooey kind of skin slime, and I feel like this map is going to be super disgusting. It's going to be interesting. One thing that we do know is that we're actually going to be able to fly in Genesis Part 2. So we're gonna have flying unlocked. We can now fly the flying dinos inside of the Genesis Part 2. I'm not sure if that's limited per map, because some of the maps maybe this ooey gooey, slimy kind of Rockwell's Innards concept biome. I think it would be more disgusting to have to be on foot all the time, because if I could, I'd probably fly and avoid walking on the ground all the time, because it looks like it's going to be a really disgusting environment, and I feel like it's going to be inside of a spaceship kind of area. I don't see this being a huge outdoors. I feel like it's going to be like how Aberration was, where it's underground, right? And now it's just filled with gooey stuff. So you're underground in a tech facility, and there's no sunlight. At least that's the vibe I'm feeling for this biome. I feel like that would make it a whole lot more disturbing and kind of creepy and eerie for the vibe that it's going for. I personally hope that it's a close-in area, so that we can't see out while we're in that biome. It's also mentioned that we will be getting some story missions. I wonder if this is similar to Genesis Part 1. I feel like it should be because that's where it came from. Like, it's kind of like a follow up on that story to go further into the thing, especially since the robot, I forget its name now, HLNA. Yeah, HLNA, Helena basically, was following us. And I feel like HLNA is going to be with us in this adventure as well on this new map. I certainly believe so. Now, before we talk about some of the dinosaurs that you've probably already heard of already, I want to talk about some of the new items that we're getting in the game. So there's a lot of new items that they're constantly releasing. Honestly, by the time the game comes out, there's going to be a lot more after this video is actually gone live. Probably even while this video is waiting to go live, there'll be something released. They're literally announcing something on Twitter like every 24 to 48 hours, I swear. So the first thing is we're getting a minigun, dude. We're getting a fucking minigun, dude. Just a Zerg minigun, like, it's gonna be epic, dude. We're also getting a Tek Bow. Now, I'm very excited for this because it's saying that we can, like, basically materialize arrows out of nowhere. And the cool part is you can actually materialize any kind of arrow that you want to. So it's not just like a regular arrow. You can be like, okay, cool, I want maybe trank arrows, like you just, boom, trank arrows or power arrows or phasing arrows. Now, this is similar to the new Tek pistol that they announced as well. The Tek pistol has 3 modes from what I heard. It has a phaser, a laser, and a taser. Now, if I think about that, the laser sounds like it's like a zzz, sounds pretty cool. Sounds like it does damage. Maybe it's a mining tool in that sense. I don't know. Probably not. The phaser sounds like the shooting form, like, bzoo, bzoo, bzoo. Sounds like that. Look at sound effects with ConCon, guys. Yes, let's go. And then there's also the taser part. Now, the taser technically sounds like it's, making somebody unconscious or like stopping them. So that leads me to believe that this is going to have a form of tranquilization. Like we can trank someone with these taser rounds with the Tek pistol, maybe. It'd be cool. You could probably just tase other players as well and just dudes asleep. Like, like not like the good old fashioned way you put like a trank arrow to someone's face. You just tase them this time with a Tek pistol. Sounds amazing. And what's very interesting is we actually start the game in a Federation Exo Tech suit. Like that's what I heard. Like we're starting the game in a full Federation Exo Tech suit. For real. We're starting in a tech suit? I guess it makes sense because we're in space, right? Like, maybe these biomes aren't breathable and we have to wear the suit the entire time. But that's kind of weird. Like, none of the worlds have worked like that in the past. So I'm very curious to see how that's going to work. Like, we have a full tech suit. We're in Genesis Part 2. Like, do we still have to start like from making campfires and thatch houses again? Like, probably. I guess so, right? We just have a tech suit now. Like, it's so interesting. I'm really curious to see how that goes. We also have a new Exo Mek. So this is kind of like it's not like that huge mech robot that we have. It's like a smaller version. It kind of reminds me of a Star Wars kind of like looking like thing. But also, if you think back to like Avatar, the movie Avatar with the blue people, they had those mechs, right? Like the ones where they're like sitting in the controls and they can like move the thing. It reminds me a lot more of that. So there's an Exo Mek that's available. It looks like a entry level towards like the giant mech. And then we have a few structures that are really interesting. We have an ammo box, which is fantastic because now PvP is going to be way worse, way harder. like an ammo box that stores all the ammo and will actually feed ammo to all the turrets nearby. Seems a little overpowered, I gotta say. I don't know if I'm full on for this one for PvP, because how the hell are you gonna drain turrets of ammo if people can just fill an ammo box with like millions of ammo and it has like a counter showing how much ammo's on it and it just keeps feeding into the turrets? So like, how are you gonna get into a base now? Like it's gonna be so much harder to soak a base now, dude. Like how much ammunition are you gonna have to go through until all those turrets are empty? Because it's gonna have to go through the ammo box, right? That's gonna be a whole different system. A cool thing is we got a canoe, which is great because the only other thing we had was like the raft and the like iron kind of motorboat thing. I think those were the only things. I don't spend a lot of time in the water, so I think those are the only 2 things that you can use on the water besides like rideable dinos, of course. So a canoe is a great way to get on the water and explore. It seems like it's going to be a really scenic thing to like take a lot of cool screenshots. I don't know how feasible it's going to be for like actual like like playing. Like I'm not sure. Maybe it's gonna come in handy somewhere in Genesis Part 2 somehow. We also have the egg incubator, which looks like an oven. It looks like a giant oven where you can put eggs in and they'll incubate at their own temperatures, and you can have multiple different types of eggs. It looks like up to 10 from the art that we can see. And this is going to incubate your eggs, like, very, like, professionally. So we're getting a lot of stuff here that's really hardcore and, like, actually good technology vibe. So we're, like, moving up in the chain of, like, what technologies we have. And then we have something called the Tek Hoversail. Now this looks really cool. Looks like two people can ride it. Like one person's on the top there, like with the steering wheel. It kind of also reminds me of Star Wars kind of vibe. You know, like those little scout things, or like you know, they like floating in the air. It definitely reminds me of that, but it actually has a sail on it, so it kind of looks like a little boat because it has like a Tek sail, but like it looks like a hoverboard at the same time. It looks like two people can ride it. I don't know. I think it looks pretty cool. I'm excited to see how it works and how fast it goes, as well as how much it can carry. And then we have the Loadout Mannequin. Now, this looks like a wooden structure that basically has a full kind of preset kit. So you can have like a raid kit, a defense kit, a taming kit that literally will equip you with the right armor, the right weapons, you know, cryo things, pods, tranquilizers, certain kind of tools, you know, health potions, you know, different everything's, guys. Like you can make a full kit that like you can equip at the click of a button according to what you're trying to do in the game. So I think this is pretty cool. It definitely saves a lot of time. So like if you're being raided or something, you can quickly run inside the base, boom, change your kit, you know. If you're like, okay, cool, we're done. Like I've got all this stuff. I want to just put everything down and I want to pick up a new kit that's going to give me the right armor and the right tools that I need. Boom, click a new thing and bam, there you go. Like you're all good to go. So this is a nice, fun, convenient kind of thing. I like this one. This one's actually really cool. We're also getting something called a security system, a structure that's basically like a really intense security system that has camera security controls. So you can put cameras around and actually be able to access these cameras to kind of see different areas. So this is pretty cool. This kind of reminds me of Rust, like you know where you can put the cameras and you can use the thing to like use the different cameras around. So that's going to be pretty cool. Like, you know, I really like this idea. This is actually pretty interesting. Like imagine having like cameras all around your base. Like dude, it's gonna be pretty dope looking. I can see this working really fun for PvP. Then we also have the Federation Crop Plot. So this is like the tech tier version of a crop plot, which will allow crops to grow quicker and also without the need of sunlight. So you can grow crops in the dark. Makes me think we're gonna be in the dark if it doesn't need sunlight. Like where are we going to be growing things in the dark, guys? This is going to be very interesting. It also has a greater storage capacity and will refrigerate plants, making them more shelf stable. So that's interesting for you guys who like to plant a bunch of stuff. So that's going to be cool. And then we have a variety of dinos that have been announced. So the Astrodelphis, which kind of looks like a fish version of the Astrocetus that we find flying around in the lunar biome of Genesis Part 1. So this seems like a much smaller fish compared to that. It looks like a smaller one. I don't know. Maybe it's even bigger. I bet it is rideable and it is tameable. So that's interesting to know. So we can ride this fish along the lands. It's making me wonder that one of these biomes is going to have the same kind of lunar gravity or thing, because how are you going to be flying a fish in space? Like unless this is somewhere like in actual space. Like imagine we have to like fly across the space to the different biomes. Unlike Genesis where there's actual walls between the biomes, maybe this time we can go across to different biomes, similar to kind of how Extinction works, but you take it to a new level because we're in space and all these biomes are spread out around on the Genesis ship. Maybe we can fly across the actual space to the other biome across. Like if you look up, you see the other biome. Like that would be sick, dude. Now I'm just fantasizing about what we could get. But I don't want to get too hyped because that would be a really cool idea. I don't know how they're gonna do it though. I do hope it's not like Genesis where everything is its own biome. I wish it was somehow connected. You know, like if that makes sense. But we'll have to see when we get it. And then we've heard about the Maewing, which basically kind of looks like a beaver platypus thingy with wings that can glide and can fly. It is rideable, it is tameable. We also know that you can actually put babies in it and it will like imprint on them, I think, and it will basically help babies grow. Like it literally has like a baby pouch. It's kind of like a kangaroo. Like you have, you know, it has its, you can put babies in the side of it and it will look after it and like raise it and maybe imprint it. I don't know about the imprinting part. That would be dope, but it's very interesting. That's something entirely new. Like, so we have like a new egg incubator, like tech machine, and now we have a dino that looks like it can like raise the babies once they're born. This is our Ark is getting very interesting, guys. Right before Ark 2 comes out, and then we've got one of the flagship dinos, the Noglin. The Noglin, the creepy looking little thing that looks so cute until it opens up its face and it goes Rah! And it's tameable. It's not rideable, though it does have the capability to control minds of survivors and creatures, such as a Rex. Under the right circumstances, it can attach itself to a creature or a survivor, and it controls them by controlling their mind. So that's overpowered. Imagine this thing turning in like you rock up there with your Rex and this thing bites your Rex, and now your Rex is like, ha, I'm gonna eat you now. I'm not your dino anymore, bitch. You're my food. And then it starts to eat you. Like it can turn your own dinosaurs against you, or turn you against your own dinosaurs. Man, this dinosaur is going to be a plot twist. Like I can imagine you just throw this into an enemy's base and you just laugh. Like you just throw it into their base, literally put it on their Rex or maybe even their Giga, and then boom, their whole base is destroyed by their own dinosaur because you flinged a Noglin into their base. That would be so overpowered. Man, this is gonna change the playing field. And then we have a plant that is not exactly a dino, but it's called the Carniflora, and it is a carnivorous plant. So if you get too close to this plant, it's gonna Venus flytrap you. It looks like it captures anything that gets too close and like just ensnares it and eats it and devours it and kills it. I'm just imagining a like the Bloodstalker kind of like and then you're just stuck there and you're gonna fight your way out to survive. That's what I'm imagining right now. So it's gonna be pretty cool to see how this one works. And then we have the one that everybody is excited for. This is Shadowmane. The one that is able to go in camouflage mode. Looks like a giant kind of like lion thing, but with like, very colorful kind of like thing. Very, very colorful and artistic looking guy. Shadowmane looks really awesome. He is tameable, he is rideable, he is also breedable, so you can breed these bad boys. I really wonder how big these guys are gonna be. So there is some speculation that it looks quite semi-aquatic, like that it might be able to actually swim because of the way its like body looks, right? So it also might be able to swim quite well in the game. I wonder, I think, maybe. But one thing I can say, it is definitely one of the coolest things I've seen so far, and I bet all of us are going to try and get this one as fast as we can. It has a lightning fast chain teleport strike, so that's going to make it quite deadly. It has invisibility, but only on the females, and the males get a roar buff. So the females are going to be able to go invisible, and the males will be able to roar. So this is kind of similar to the Rock Drake. Like as I mentioned, the male Shadowmanes are capable of roaring, which buffs allied creatures and probably itself around it. And the female one is able to render itself invisible along with any creatures nearby as well. So I wonder if that's going to be like a radius similar to like the Daedons, which have that like healing radius. I wonder if maybe the invisibility is going to be able to do like a World of Warcraft rogue, like, shroud of invisibility. So everything around it is going to go invisible as well, or if it's just the rider on the mount that's going to go invisible. And then we have the Stryder, which seems like a dino that we're going to find in Eden's zone, where it's like kind of like that area that looks very similar to Voidwyrm, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video. Now this is a tameable and rideable kind of big ass looking thing. It kind of reminds me of a really big parasaur in a vibe, but it has like a drill-like mouth with that you can put different attachments onto its face that can do different types of things, very much like a mech, and it basically can like harvest. It can turn into a combat machine, can shoot, it can do some weird, crazy shit. So I'm curious to see what kind of like attachments we can put on there and how that's going to work and how overpowered these guys are going to be. It's going to be pretty interesting to farm with these things, I think. And then we have the Voidwyrms, which kind of look like a robotic version of a wyvern. So that's going to be pretty cool, like a Tek wyvern. People are going to be using this one pretty much all the time. There's a lot of information that's currently unknown because it's unreleased and it's not in the game yet. And all we know that it's been teased and we've been, shared some pictures of the Voidwyrm, and it can fly and it's going to look pretty damn cool. I'm pretty sure it's going to be rideable because, I mean, it looks like it can fly, so that's going to be awesome. And I'm really excited to see what happens with this Voidwyrm. It's going to be really cool. I think a lot of us are going to tame this and fly this bad boy around. I'm assuming it can probably shoot, like, tech stuff out of its mouth, probably? I wonder what they could do there. It looks pretty awesome. And then recently, the final announcement that I've received to this date right now, like the last thing that I heard that was announced, is the Summoner, which kind of looks like a weird plant kind of thing, but also not a plant. It looks like it flies in the sky, kind of weird. So it says here, you'll have to summon some real courage if you're seen by this watchful guard. Perhaps it's just better to run. What does that mean? Like, what is it going to summon? It's a summoner. So if this thing finds you, does it stop you? Does it hold you in place? Does it summon something else? Apparently they're going to vary in size, much like the fish, like so they can come in like smaller sizes, bigger sizes. And I'm sure they kind of just find you and mark you and say like, boom, okay, cool. And then something happens? Bro, I'm so curious. What's going to happen? The summoner, like, dude, what is this thing? Why does it sound so freaky? And that's pretty much everything you need to know right now about Ark Genesis Part 2. Everything to get you hyped so that you're up to date. If something else happens in the future days before release, you're probably going to find out about it then. It's right now, there are 7 days to the release. So I'm pretty damn excited, dude, for Ark Genesis Part 2, man. It's going to be so good. I'm so excited. I hope you guys are excited too. And I'll see you guys in a future video. Thank you so much for watching.